Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm glad you're here. I'm Randy Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. This is our weekly webinar, 3 p.m. Tuesday webinar for all of our established licensees and our new licensees, and for even those that are thinking about becoming a licensee. And we try to share this information with you at least once a week. And every time we do that, then we post it on the randallbaxter.com website under the appropriate chapter title. And we're going to be rearranging some of those chapters a little bit to put them in order for you. But right now, we've just been as we go. So anyway, today's topic is workshops. Workshops as a marketing tool. And we haven't talked about this before, but I really don't like to ask you all to do things unless I have done them myself. And I just have been so busy building our licensee network and taking care of my clients and doing all these lessons and everything. I've just never had time to stop and do a workshop. Well, about October, I decided I was going to do a workshop. So I shopped around to find the best way to do the marketing for it. And I realized that it took me, well, October, November, December, January, February, almost 5 full months to get my mindset correct to have a workshop. You don't have to take that long if you believe what I say and think that it's a good idea, because I have already done all the due diligence and I've already done all the legwork, and have probably made all the mistakes that anybody could make before they had their first workshop. So that's what we're going to be talking today: workshops as a marketing tool. So, I always try to talk about our company culture and our mission and our vision and our values. And this is just one of the things that we want to talk about. So today, we're going to be talking about making the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, instead of it being one-to-one, doing it one-to-many, all at once. So, the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview can be converted from one-to-one to one-to-many very, very easily. It leads, but at the same time, whether you do one-to-one or one-to-many, it still leads the prospect to a decision they know they need to make. Now, some people ask me questions about, hey, I've done this presentation 3 or 4 times. What am I doing wrong? Well, and I think almost every time it's people let the salesman get loose and try to sell things too quick instead of letting the process work. So we want to talk about that. You just got to remember, what I'm about to tell you is the same process as the one-to-one, but it's just one-to-many. So what I've been teaching you all for months and years, actually 3 years, that there is a no-cost marketing program offered in my ebook, Approach, Plan, Succeed. I will teach you how to get your appointments without spending any money. And that was always my original premise, because when I was a trainer, even at the New York Life Insurance Company, I had to take new agents and show them how to make appointments when they didn't have a lot of marketing money for their budget. So I had to teach them how to do it one-on-one, and I had to teach them how to do the approach. And like I said, that's what I've been doing with you all. But the process. And get this right, let this sink in so you understand what I'm trying to say to you. The process involves developing your ability to identify a suspect, and you've heard me say this so many times, using what I call an avatar. And then it's done through personal observations and referrals and advocations. That's the free way to do it. That's the way I do it. I do that almost every day if I can, when I'm trying to look for somebody to go sell. I woke up Monday morning and I remember looking to Linda and I said, Linda, I think I've got a good shot at $700,000 or $800,000 in sales today if I handle it right. And I was totally wrong. I came home with over $1 million. And it was because of this process that I've been trying to teach you people and trying to show you what works. So, and we've talked about the possible avatars, single adults, newlyweds, new divorced single parents, extended heads of households, new wealthy, people with new careers, pre-retirees and or retirees, new health problems, disabled children, poor money handlers, debt burden, same-sex couples, and May, November relationships, just to get started. And if you wanted to, you walk out in any crowd, you go to the Super Bowl and look around, that's all you'd see. There's this list of people. You wouldn't know any of them, but there'd be 100,000 of them sitting there. And the trick or the skill, I'm not going to call it a trick. I'm going to call it a skill, but it's also an art. And it's also something that the harder you work at it, the better you get. It's all three. But the skill is being able to take these avatars, these single adults, newlyweds, yada, 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 and being able to attach a name to the avatar. Now, there's nothing here that I've said so far that costs a penny to do. Not one penny. And if you guys will give yourselves credit, you know these people. Well, I messed up. There it goes. I'll get that thought bubble out of the way. Or maybe it'll go away here in a minute. But anyway, okay. Excuse me a minute, but I need to fix that. Okay, number one is you have to identify the avatar. And then number two, you have to add that person's name. And then number three, you have to approach them. It's okay. And as you know, and as I've said over and over and over and over and over, I only teach you one approach because it works. And Greg, if you're on here, say hello to us a minute.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Greg, tell me what you told me about one of our new people this week about what we teach.
Well, what they were amazed at how simple it is. They said it's not complicated, it's simple, and it works. They said what Randy says. I think you could benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. Do you have one? They said that and got their first suspect or prospect, and we did a Zoom interview with them, and they were amazed at how walking through the go-to first interview, the way Randy teaches it, she said it was so simple. You got all the information. They were agreeing with you without a problem. They were volunteering information. I said, yeah, and it's so simple. It works.
That's right. That's right, Greg.
And she was excited.
Yeah, of course they are. So, the only thing that if you're sitting there and going, I'm not making any sales, all I can say to you is try what I say. Go back and read Approach, Plan, Succeed, and read that chapter about that old soldier that doesn't carry things the way the other soldiers do. It doesn't dress the way the other soldiers do. It doesn't act the way the other soldiers do. But when that soldier goes on a mission, he comes back unharmed and safe and ready to go again. So and the question is, who would you follow? Would you jump in that ditch in World War I and follow the guy that had the brand new suit and the brand new diploma from West Point, or the guy that had been living in the ditch for 40 years? And to be honest with you, it is very simple and very easy and very low cost. So why am I trying to talk to you about workshops? Well, it doesn't matter how you do this, but if you engage people with what they expect, it's what they are able to discern and confirms their projections. It settles them into predictable patterns of response. I know that if I do what I do, 7 out of 10 are going to respond in a favorable way. And all I have to do is not be the pushy salesperson. I just need to spoon feed the information in an organized manner, in a way that leads them to a decision that they know that they need to make. I'll be honest with you. I'm not bragging, but maybe I am. That's the best form of salesmanship, is to be able to get someone to come to a conclusion of something that they knew they needed to do without feeling pressured and want to do business with you. So and when they start the conversation, they're not even anticipating that. They know that they're expecting something, but they're not anticipating coming in full agreement. Now, that's 1-to-1. But it's also 1-to-many. Because if you bond with a group, the same thing happens. So, this process converts. If you don't do a workshop, my process converts the avatar persona into a suspect, and then you use the correct approach and turn them into a prospect. That's building that bridge I was telling you about. But it's the power of the understanding of the definition of the prospect that sets the stage for this process. Your suspect prospect's not even aware that what you're doing. But if you understand the power behind the definition of a prospect and why it's different from a suspect, you're going to make all kinds of progress. Now, you've seen the spaceman before, you saw him last week, but a prospect. The fact that the suspect has agreed to discuss your topic of choice on a favorable basis. That is the definition of a prospect. And if you do the no-cost approach, you have to go through the suspect route. You have to travel through the avatar persona suspect roadmap. And you have to look at that. You're entering a battlefield in which you cannot win if you don't understand this. So you have to understand the terrain. Well, maybe people don't understand what the definition of a favorable basis is. A basis that becomes more positive or less negative over time is said to narrow or strengthen. One that becomes less positive or more negative is said to widen or weaken. When you turn that salesman persona on and go after your client too quick, it turns them off. It makes your case weaker, not stronger. And if you talk to them in a way that creates a positive outcome, that's why I lead them through the family tree, lead them through the estate plan in reverse, lead them through their real estate, talk to them about their long-term care, talk to them about their income plans and the possibility that they might run out of money, ask them questions about their health, current health, review their assets with them, and ask them if they think that they shouldn't have the proper paperwork. How hard is that? Okay, and I'm still 1-to-1, except I'm not, because you know what? I can do the exact same thing with 30 people at a time, the exact same presentation. As long as I understand myself well enough and I understand my prospects, I can win on almost any battle I go in. That's because I choose to win it ahead of time. I don't even go into the battle unless I'm going to win. I already know I'm going to win. I've already planned to win. And I know that if I follow my sales presentation, I'm going to win. And see, it's sometimes when you people break away from a sales presentation that you don't get the sale. That's not my fault. So if you're going to be in control of the interview, you have to understand yourself. You have to use the proper tools. we call them unique mechanisms, the agenda, the fact finder, the sales script, and the power phrases. You can do it one-to-one, but you can do it one-to-many. It's just as easy to say the same thing to 30 people at once as it is to say it to one person. So what I'm trying to say to you here, and this is important, and this is probably the most important screen of this whole presentation. It is possible to skip the suspect level on an individual basis. But you have to do it right. The art of the sale is of vital importance to your career. I'm assuming you know that. I guess that's why you're here. It's also important to your income and your mindset. The road to success or failure, you have to use the tools that I'm talking about, and you cannot ignore them. But at the same time, here I am telling you, you have to go through the avatar, persona, suspect to get to the prospect, unless you're willing to do a workshop. Because a workshop, everybody that attends the workshop has already agreed to let you talk to them on a favorable basis. That's why they're there. I said they're there. That's Southern. I meant that's why they are there. but that's just the way I talk. So anyway, to win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the skill. It's not the skill at all. To subdue the prospect without fighting is the skill. When I did the workshop, I titled it Will Awareness. I didn't say come buy an estate plan. I called it Will Awareness. And people showed up because they wanted to be well aware. Now, that's the back end of my approach. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan. And if you do, you might learn something that you were not aware, in which you were not aware. So if you do a workshop and people show up, you have skipped the avatar, persona, suspect journey because you've let your checkbook do it and turned it over to a professional marketer who can put people in your workshop and do it turnkey. So without telling you too much about it, if you knew that you were going to have 4 workshops and that you were going to average, well, the first one, I may miss these numbers a little bit. You're going to have 26 people in the first one and 16 in the second one and 42 in the third one and 5 dozen in the fourth one. All of a sudden you're talking to close to 100 buying units. And you're saying the exact same thing that you would say one-to-one, except you're saying it to one-to-many at the same time. Then you should have more prospects than you know what to do with. If I had 100 prospects show up and it cost me $3,500 to do it, that means that each one of those prospects cost me $35. That's pretty low. Now, if you don't have $3,500, I understand that. Go jump in the ditch with that old soldier and listen to what he's got to say and do it for free. It's okay. So, this is where the workshop comes in as a marketing tool. Okay. I know that Thursday at 9:30 and Thursday at 1:30, I have appointments with a whole bunch of people. And when they come in, they don't know me from Adam, but they instantly give me credibility. And they instantly assume that I must know what I'm talking about, or I wouldn't be brave enough to get up there in front of everybody. So are you. So you see, your prospect who has agreed to meet you on a favorable basis, that person has come to the library to do a workshop. They have already agreed to meet with you on a favorable basis. And they want me to lead them to a favorable decision in which they have a win. I talked to you about that last week. You know, they come to learn about will and awareness. They don't expect to make an appointment with me. If you ask them, they would expect to say, no, we're not going to meet with the guy. We're just going to listen to what he's got to say. I don't care. Because I know that if I use my family tree asset position and go to first interview, I'm going to hit home with some people in that room that need to talk to me soon. And those are the ones I'm looking for. So even in war, and as well in marketing, the way to victory is to avoid the strong. You know, some guy told us this week that he had $5 million and he was going to go talk to his attorney. Well, he's strong. I don't want to approach people like that. I don't have a chance. I want to strike where the prospect is weak, where they know they need to talk to somebody and they don't know who to talk to and they don't know how to make a move. And all of a sudden they can come to the library and talk to somebody who will answer those questions for them. And they probably only have 2 or 3 million. So, you know, what is weak when this person or persons agrees to meet in most cases is the proper design of their current estate plan. That's where the weakness lies. And if you can identify the weakness, you can go there to help make it stronger. If you go there and they're already strong and their wife is an estate planning attorney, you know, they're strong. You're not going to be any use. So if you're going to attack a problem, you attack where the weakness is and make it better. And you saw this screen last week when I put it back on here on purpose. Build your prospect a golden bridge to retreat across. That's the goal of the workshop. Those people know that when they leave, they have an opportunity to make an appointment and to make contact with somebody that can answer their questions and help them get to the right decision. Let them back on out of there knowing that they can have an appointment later on. A workshop makes the primary promise. Come learn about a topic in which you know you need more information. Hey, folks, listen to this. It's a secret. Will awareness works. What that entry-level person told Greg Davis the other day is Randy's approach works. Well, I'm telling you something else that works. Will awareness in a workshop works. Now, I don't care if you believe me or not. The math says I'm right. So by agreeing to attend the workshop, the suspect has pre-agreed in advance to hear what you have to say on a favorable basis, thus becoming a prospect immediately. Does that make sense? That's right, Eddie. It makes sense, doesn't it, buddy? All right. So if you have the proper list, you can do the marketing yourself. Now, that means that you can invite your clients to a workshop at the library. You can invite your family to a workshop at the library. You don't have to spend any money. I tried to do what the average financial services person does, and that they spend $3,500 up to $6,000. I decided, okay, if I'm going to be able to talk to my licensees, why don't I just do it the way it gets done and report back to you guys? I can introduce you to the man who can do it for $3,500. He can do it anywhere in the United States of America. I gave him that money on December 31 because I wanted a tax deduction in 2023. And I knew I was going to create an income in 2024. And I gave it to him on January 31. And then on February 15th, 6 weeks later, and on February 22nd, 7 weeks later, I will have talked to over 100 people who might benefit from a conversation with me about their current estate plan. And if they do, they may learn something in which they were not aware. So it doesn't matter what route you go down. If your mission is clear and helpful, and if it works, well, that's just like that old soldier in the ditch. If you just do what the old soldier says, you probably find out that you don't get hurt and you probably survive and you probably win. But if you go in there and change the rules, and if the old soldier says, don't poke your head up, and you poke your head up and somebody takes the top of it off, it's not the old soldier's fault. So, the proper presentation, boy, I misspelled presentation. That's my misspelled word of the week. I always try to do one just on purpose, sort of. But the proper presentation can generate a number of prospects that are willing to meet to discuss the next steps. Now, we didn't get them all. But I'll tell you this, we're going to get over 10 in the next few days. And I know that 1073 works. So I'm going to project 7 estate plan sales and 3 back-end sales in the next 2 weeks. So how is it a workshop different from the one-on-one approach? You might want to get your ears real close to the computer so you can hear. You have the opportunity to present as an expert, not a salesperson, as an expert. And that immediately leverages your credibility. You want to get your message out in an entertaining way. I do my best to do that. Your attendees will not have seen the Family Tree Asset Positioning presentation. They're seeing it for the first time, just like a great movie. And they're going to look at you and they're going to go, no one has ever shown me this in this way before. So they're going to be interested. So by attending, by coming to the workshop, they expect to benefit from a conversation, a presentation about estate planning and how it relates to their individual situation. And they don't have to tell anybody what their individual situation is. You drive it home and they get to absorb it, and they don't have to share it with anybody. They just get to hear what you have to say. Sort of like what everybody's doing here today. Well, you have the opportunity to help them learn of issues in which they may not be aware. That's when they give you more credibility than they had for you when they walked in the door. It's when you start telling them things that they were not aware of. And then they go, gosh, this guy's or girl's helping. Tell me things that I was not aware of. You have the opportunity to make them aware of real estate issues, long-term care issues, income issues, health issues, asset issues, all in just a few short minutes. And if you do the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview correctly, it ties them all together in the right order that makes them say, I need to do this and I need to do this now. I think I'll do it with that guy. So you have the opportunity to explain why people have not completed their estate plans, why their house may not be in order. And if it is not in order, they will know it. They won't jump up and down and say, my house is not in order, but they will know it. And they'll be glad they accepted your invitation. So, here's why they don't do it. Fear of cost, not having the time to invest, not knowing who to get involved with, or maybe just not even getting around to it. But in that workshop, you will plant the seeds of awareness that will lead to appointment requests and low stress follow-ups. How many people, you don't have to raise your hand, but how many people would like to have to make appointment requests and have low stress follow-ups? People would go, yeah, I do want to talk to you about that. And the workshop should take no longer than 75, 90 minutes. I think the first one took 1 hour and 5 minutes, and the second one took 1 hour and 15 minutes. I don't know if I was tired or if I hammed it up too much. I don't know. But I was watching the clock. I knew I wanted to get them in, tell the story, and let them go home because I want that pillow talk that night. And y'all have heard me talk about pillow talk. But if somebody goes in and says, Randy's right, we don't have that, and you're not as healthy as me, and I'm going to be at risk if we don't do something about this, let's do something about it when they call. That's what happens. So, you should be able to do the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview in front of a group as well as you can do one-on-one. And then you got to be able to give them around to it, because if they haven't got around to it, you need to give them one. And that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but if you give it to them at the end after you tell them you haven't gotten around to it, have you? And they go, no, you give them one. It reinforces the memory and it ends the workshop on a humorous note. It's not so serious. I think we sold 1,200 those things last month. I've ordered 1,200 more. A lot of you ordered them again, but if you want some round to it, just let me know. So they're not free, but they're pretty cheap. But why would you use a workshop and not a dinner seminar? Well, there's lots of reasons. One is because the cost is, if you do a dinner seminar, the cost is $3,500 marketing plus $100 a head for dinner. If you do a workshop, it just costs you marketing, and people come there to work, not to eat. And that means you don't get any plate lickers. And you have a more intimate atmosphere. They come in, they respect you for what you're there to do. It's no nonsense. They came to learn, not to eat. We did give them bottled water. But anyway, attendees come because they expect to benefit from the presentation. That's why you want to do a workshop in the library. They come to become aware of things they might not know. Have you heard that before? If you have people who have done business with you in the past, you can invite them to the workshop and still have a low marketing expense. If you have 100 clients, invite 100 clients. Last public event I had, I invited 110 people and 106 people showed up. It'll happen to you too. If you do not have people who have done business with you in the past, project your workshop 30 days into the future and start inviting people you know. They'll come. Some won't. Some will. So what? The ones that do are going to benefit. So when they arrive, give them an agenda. Tell them what you're going to be talking about. Stick to it. We gave them a pen they could keep, paper to draw their family tree on. And then what did we do? We did the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview. Right there in front of everybody. I didn't use any high technology. I used I don't know what those things are called. A tripod, a flipboard. Yeah. And a magic marker. And I drew pictures of the family tree. And they giggle sometimes when I said, are you divorced? And they'd go, yeah. And I'd put a big red X down through them and I'd go, great. So if you choose a marketing firm to do this at 35, if you say, well, I'm busy, I'd rather just spend the $3,500, which is a low investment. And if you want to do that, let me know and I'll introduce you to Jeff Mills. I'll be glad to do that. But if you choose a marketing firm, expect 85 to 100 attendees over 4 different dates. I picked Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, and Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon the next week. Jeff said I should have picked Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon and Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. Or Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, go through the weekend and then do it again Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. But he said, Randy, you made a mistake not having one in the evening. And I said, no, I didn't. I don't like to work in the evenings. But he said, no, it's a mistake. So I may consider doing one in the evening, but I think I'll let the sun stay up a while. I don't like to do it in the dark. So the cost is $3,500. You can expect a 10-fold return on your investment if you are not very good at what you do. So if you have $3,500, you probably can make $35,000, and that should be your minimum goal. But I've talked to you so many times, and I've said 10-7-3, 10 prospect conversions into appointments, 7 estate plan sales, and 3 back-end sales. That's what's going to happen if you do my presentation the way I teach it, you set up the back-end sale the way I teach it, and you do the proper planning on your back-end presentation the way I teach it. Change it, and you might not get those numbers. Don't change it, and you'll probably get those numbers. So if you do an income plan and want to make $35,000, all you have to do is probably sell about $500,000 worth of annuities. And my average back-end sale is 200,000. That means I only have to make 2.5 sales. And I don't care to tell you, yesterday was the first full day that I had time to spend in my working with my clients. And I called it a money day, and I went running through the day, and I left the house at 8 o'clock and got home 4:30, and I had $1 million worth of applications in my briefcase. 161,000 and 11,000 and 125,000 and 185,000 and 500,000. But when I sent that email, some of you got that email. I call it a money day. I'm going to have another money day Friday. How do I know? How do I know I'm going to have a money day Friday? Because I planned it. I did what I was supposed to do and set the stage. Now, if you're not making the money you want to make, you're probably not setting the stage. And if you're not making the money you want to make, you probably you really don't want to, because you're not willing to do the things that you need to do. If you want to make that money, figure out what people are doing to make that money and go do it. Emulate what they do. If I got my friend Joe Kaiser, he knows how to catch catfish. And when he goes fishing for catfish, it's not whether he's going to catch one, it's how many and how much time does he have to do it. And I'm not very good at it. But if I went fishing with Joe Kaiser, I would do exactly what Joe did. I'd use the same lure. I'd push him over and say, I'm going to fish in this spot. I would do what the successful person does to be successful. And if I did not know what it was, I would spend the time to learn to do it. And I hope that makes sense. So, what's the true purpose of the workshop? To implement your marketing at a low cost and as a force multiplier. Now, you've heard, I've thrown that word at you the past couple of weeks, force multiplier. If you're on a battlefield and there's 100 infantry in front of you and 100 infantry behind you, the side that's got the big Sherman tank is got the force multiplier. The side that's got the semi-automatic weapons instead of the single shot weapons, that's the force multiplier. If you will use the workshop correctly and recruit toward it and market toward it and tell people you're going to do it and invite them to do it and then be there and do it, it doesn't matter how many people show up. You have just done a force multiplier. So hey, if you all are interested in doing a workshop, let me know. I'll help you. I'll show you what we do. I'll send you the forms. I'll introduce you to Jeff Mills. I'll maybe get Greg to tell you how to get your nonprofit status set up, because some libraries need you to be a nonprofit before they let you in the door. You have a higher response if you do it live, but you can do it on Zoom if you want to. But I'm not going to tell you to do it on Zoom because I've never done one on Zoom, except this. I've done this on Zoom. It works. I haven't tested it yet on Zoom. If I were you, I wouldn't do it on Zoom. I would go do it. If I went fishing with Joe and Joe was casting the lure in the water right to the left of the dock, I sure wouldn't cast the lure into the parking lot. I might be able to throw it just as far as he does, but he's got the right idea. He's putting it where the fish are, and he knows where they are. I don't. So I've tested the library workshop, and it works. I have tested the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, and it works. I have tested the approach to the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, and it works. I call it the cycle of success. A lot of you think, oh, there he goes again. Well, that's right. Here I go again, because that's what it is, and it works. So all I can say to you is let me teach you to hunt. The first thing you have to know about how to hunt is where to hunt. And you know what? Intelligent people with money like to go to the library. So your success will not conquer an enemy. It will create an ally who will make referrals and advocate for you. All of a sudden, if you spend a little money and do a workshop, you've got the opportunity to go in and do the free stuff, the advocation, the referrals, the personal observations. And then what you assume is hard becomes something that becomes very easy, and it's the advocation that becomes the force multiplier on top of the workshop. I call that building momentum. So here's something to remember, and I said it to you last week, and it's my old friend who's paralyzed right now. But when he told me this, we were both in college, and his heart was broken, and he'd just been dumped by his girlfriend, and she'd run off with another. He looked at me, and we were drinking our beer, and he was sobbing, and I was trying to comfort him. And he looked at me and said, when you ask for something, you either get it or you don't. So if you go in and ask people in a workshop, if you're careful about what you ask for, you don't ask them to buy anything. You ask them to take this one-to-many presentation and convert it to a one-to-one. From one-to-many to one-to-one. And it can either mean victory or defeat. It depends on whether you do it right or not. Okay. I'm going to climb off my soapbox and ask you all if y'all have any questions. Does anyone out there have any questions about what I've been trying to say to you today? Lisa, do you see any questions out there?
Mike Carolus in the chat says, will awareness is sorely needed.
Will awareness is sorely needed. It's needed by the person attending the webinar, and it's needed by the person presenting the webinar or the workshop. It's a two-way street where both people win. You're absolutely right, Mike. How about somebody else out there? Any other questions?
Nothing more in the chat.
Seriously, we did all that hard work and nobody's got any questions.
You're good.
All I got to say to you is, if 100 people attended your workshop and it cost you $3,500 on your Visa card, and you took the risk and you wound up making $35 to $50 or $60,000 on it because you followed the program, was it worth investing the $3,500 on your credit card? And if it doesn't work, if $3,500 changes your life, don't do it. Go in and do the original approach that I teach you that doesn't cost anything until you make enough money. And then when you get enough money, it becomes easier for you to write that check for $3,500 than it does to go out and do the one-to-one approaches. Both work. Okay. So somebody had to talk to me the other day and they said, well, that's not the way I do it. And I said, well, does the way you do it work? And he went, no. Is that what are you doing? If if you're not making the money that you want to make in the financial services industry, what is it you are doing that keeps you where you are? And I think the answer is you have not found that ditch with that old soldier in it. And you have not jumped in that ditch with him and said, will you show me how you prosper and survive in these conditions? And that old soldier may just tell you how to do it. Or you might jump in a ditch and what was that comedian's name? Had the big red nose from the 1930s. Go away, kid, you bother me. So some people won't even want to help you. They won't care, and they will see you as competition, and they'll see you as you don't deserve to know what they know. But every once in a while, you might jump in that ditch and run into somebody who's willing to share with you the right way to do it. What was his name? W.C. Fields. You guys that are Zoomers, go into your computer and type in W.C. Fields, and you'll see an old drunk who made kids think that he was going to eat them. And he said, "Go away, kids, you bother me." Okay, we're trying our best not to do that. We're trying our best to show you what works. So anyway, did that generate any questions?
There's a question from Mike in the chat. He wants to know where in the library would this meeting happen?
The library where the meeting happened was in Tellico Village in Tennessee.
But I think he means where about in the library, in a library.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. You go in the door and walk about 50 steps, and they have a corporate meeting room in that library. And it was glassed in. It's a beautiful library. Go and check the libraries in your neighborhood and see what those libraries have to offer. Make an appointment and go talk to the manager. I will tell you the library costs a little bit of money. It cost me $50 $25 4 times. It cost me $100 to use that library. It was well worth it. So I've got 2 people here with me, Jay and Benton, and they went with me on the seminar. Benton, can you say something about what you learned at the webinar or at the workshop?
That they work?
That they work? Did you call anybody?
No.
No, you didn't call anybody for an appointment?
No, I mean, yes, like as in terms of the follow-up
Okay.
from to make the appointments, but
Was it hard?
No.
What kind of reception did you get?
very warm because they had attended or they found something they weren't aware of.
How about you, Jay?
It's a breath of fresh air. I used to do a lot of cold calls and no one cussed me out. And everyone is really receptive. They either want to book an appointment with us or they're like that $5 million person and it's just they're not for us, and it's fine. And they got to get some good information, and who knows, maybe they'll come back around another day.
Okay.
But it's really good.
Yeah. So, I did this workshop so that I can introduce Jay and Benton to how easy it was to make those appointments. I can't do it for you. I'm not in Omaha, or I'm not in Hawaii, or I'm not in Texas or Florida. All I can do is tell you what my experience was and what I did. And most of you have been studying the go-to first interview for weeks or months now. And it's just as easy to get in front of 25, 30, 40 people as it is to get in front of one. And if you pay the $3,500 for the marketing, it's even easier. They do the hard work for you because they eliminate the suspect and convert them automatically to prospects for $3,500.
How do we get in touch with you?
Hey, Harry. You tried a couple of times. I've been so busy, and I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Harry, you can email me at randallbaxter@randallbaxter.com. You can go to Greg Davis at randallbaxter.com. And I think Greg is the one that really needs to talk to you as a new person. But you can send me an email, or I'll give you my phone number. I'm kind of spent for today, but tomorrow I'll be more than happy to talk to you. You're in California, aren't you?
No, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Ah, you're Eastern Standard
Hey.
Time, just like me.
All
That's
right.
great. That's great. You can give me a call in the morning. I've got a couple of phone calls, or you can email me and I can send you my list. It's 865-654-1635. And Harry, I think I had called you, and I think I missed you. I called 1 minute early, and I think you were busy, and I apologize. But
It's
we
okay.
just stay so busy, and I do want to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Who else has a question out there?
In the chat, Hung asks, how do you answer this question? How do you do this when you're not a lawyer? How do I know this is a fully legitimate plan?
Well, first of all, I'm not practicing law. There's two things, even in Tennessee and most states, that you can't do, and that you can't practice law. You can't tell people you're an attorney, and you can't manufacture the document. All of our documents are attorney-written documents. We help people understand those documents and help them make decisions. The software that we use is called decision tree programming. The attorney-written software asks the questions, and all the prospect has to do is answer the questions, and that will develop your estate plan. Our software is good in all 50 states. It has never been contested, and it's never been wrong. Occasionally, I have to say we need to upgrade this to a tax attorney, because I don't give tax advice either. Don't give legal advice, don't give tax advice. And I call it the elephant in the room, because people think, and even attorneys will attack me every once in a while and say, how do you do that? And I'll look at them and go, what do you mean? And when I tell them about decision tree programming, that it's attorney written, the conversation's over. You're not practicing law. You're only practicing law if you're making up the answers, making up the questions, and manufacturing the documents, none of which you do in our system. You use our sales presentation and use our attorney written software, and you will be fine. I hope that answers your question. Any more?
Another question from Ed. He wants to know if at the workshop, did you use a slide presentation?
No, I did not. I have been advised to, but no, I did not. I just got up. I wish I'd have had a top hat and a cane. I'd have danced for them. I used the flip chart, and I told them stories. And when I drew the family trees, I drew it with a magic marker. I'm that old school, folks. But yeah, you can use a slideshow. And I've got one slideshow written that I did for a church for one of our licensees, but you don't need it, but you can use it if you want it. Any other questions?
Another question from Felicia. She says, I'm just curious, is the $3,500 the cost for marketing? What is the cost for what again?
Well, okay, the $3,500 pays the marketing company. They do it digitally, and they go to your area and they recruit people. And Felicia, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how they did it, but they sure did put 125 people in our workshop. So that's all I care about. The $3,500 was the lowest price that I could find. And at the same time, it turned out to be Mr. Jeff Mills, who does estate planning webinar marketing every day all over the country, and he's very good at it. I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, because I really don't know what they did. I just know that they did it. Did that answer your question?
Hi, Randy.
Hi,
Thank you for
Felicia.
Yes, how are you? Yeah, I got the
good.
answer. I'm just curious, is this a group that does marketing for this purpose anywhere in
Yes.
US?
Yes. And if you'll send me an email, I'll send you his name. He's excited that because he knows he's going to get a lot of business out of this webinar today. But I'll introduce you to him, and I'll ask you some questions about your geographic area, and then he'll market to your area and fill up your library.
Oh, I see. But we are the ones who have to present it. They just do the marketing part. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, and I'll tell you, Felicia, I'd come out there and do it for you, but you'd have to buy my plane ticket and my hotel room and send me back home. But
Okay.
the way I do it is fun. I know that they're going to laugh at the end of it because I tell them they need to get around to it 3 or 4 times, and then I hand them one.
Yeah.
So and then when I hand them that wooden round to it coin, if they don't want to do business with me or they don't want to talk to me, it's their decision. And that's okay. Because I know that a certain number of those people, the presentation's going to hit home and they're going to want to make an appointment. I don't have to get them all. Don't even have to get a majority. And Felicia, if you'll just follow our presentation and entertain those folks with a bottle of water and a round to it, they'll walk out of there going, boy, Felicia really taught me a lot today, and I do need to meet her and talk to her. That's how easy this is.
Yes.
And also, I'll go ahead and tell you all, I'm going to be doing a workshop out in Las Vegas on April 30th. And I'm going to be showing everybody all this stuff. If y'all want to come, send me an email. It's not free. I think it's $150. It's an 8-hour workshop, and I'll teach you everything. And if you sell a case within 30 days or so after that workshop, I'll give you your money back.
Mhm.
So if
Thank
you're
you
interested in doing that, let me know.
Randy, can I ask you one question here?
Of course.
Okay, if somebody you did the presentation with a week ago and they said, call me like tomorrow, when you call them to follow up, when you pick up the phone, what do you tell them?
I'll tell them that I'll give them a call and I'll answer any questions that they have, and then we can get along and get the process started. Felicia, you have the right to assume that your presentation hit home and that you have the right to ask them to do business with you. Because if you do it right, they're talking to you because they know they need to do it. Right?
Yes.
So that, once you get about 5 or 6 of these under your belt, you're going to start writing over half of the ones you do. I think I do probably 7 out of 10.
Yes. And if somebody wants to do research, you just send them our website, like my website, to the customer.
Yeah, but Felicia, they don't need to do any research. What do they have to research?
I don't know. They sometimes they just say that.
Okay. I would examine the presentation and find out what it is you're not answering. They want to do research. They're just trying to throw a smoke swing and screen and delay. If you'll do this thing right, those objections don't appear. So and I know you're new at it, but if you project a lack of confidence, they will give you an objection to moving forward. So I always act like I don't care if they do business with me or not. I've done a good job. I've told them what it is. They're the one that's got the problem, not me. I'm the one that's the most affordable, and I'm the best there is. Just like Charlie Daniels, best there ever was. And you can be too. You can be too.
Okay. It's okay to have not 100% your confidence at this moment, because I'm still on my way.
Felicia, you're going to have it soon. It's
Yes.
coming. The fact that you've been here for 6 or 8 weeks and the fact you've had some presentation, I promise you, you're getting better every time you even think about it.
Yes, thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. It's yours anyway.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
In the chat, Tony says, my local library allows no sales meetings. You mentioned a 501c you have that we can join for that purpose.
It's a nonprofit organization. It costs $200. And all they're actually saying, all the nonprofit is saying is that they have approved you for being someone who's knowledgeable in the topic you're talking about. And that's what the library wants. And if you need that, I can send you the application. And once you get approved, you'll be a member of that association. You got to be, it's Financial Planners Association.
Okay, so is that what your library then that's what you were able to use with them?
Yep, that was a requirement, and that was the only requirement.
Well, yeah,
That-
because that's what I have run in. Prior to meeting you, I had another thing that I wanted to do at the library, and their thing was, well, no, it's like you got to show that you're an educational. We don't allow sales here, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Well, I came in and made the presentation, taught them, and I gave them around to it, and told them we'd be in touch with them if they wanted to talk to us. They could, and that's we didn't, they know you're going to sell.
Right, it's a game.
Yeah. But you don't go in and put a hard press sales presentation. You just teach people what you know, and they benefit from that and they act on it.
So $200 one time thing, or $200 a year to keep it going?
I haven't been a member long enough to know.
Okay,
If they send me a bill, I'm going to pay it.
sure, yeah.
I wish I knew everything. I
Randy, this is
don't know
Jen.
everything. I just wish I did. Yes.
Can I ask you a
Hey,
question?
Jen.
Yeah. So I asked a couple
So
times
of
in the chat,
course,
did you do a video of your webinar so we can see it? Of your, I mean, not webinar, workshop.
no. It is not appropriate to have strangers come in and without getting a model release. So if you're going to do the video in a public situation, anybody can step up and sue you for that.
Not if you just take a video of yourself. You don't have to video the other people.
Well, people object, and Mike Stranka told me to never do that because if somebody pops up by accident, they have the right to ask you for reimbursement. So no, I wouldn't make the video. I will do a PowerPoint and then send you the PowerPoint when I get time.
I don't want the PowerPoint. I want to know what you said for the whole 90 minutes. Literally,
Well,
that's what I want to see.
Hey, it's in the script. It's in the script.
not.
I followed the script.
Right.
And all I did was the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go to first interview. And I just wouldn't risk because some of the staff here approached me about filming it. And I remember what Mike Stranka said, and he said it's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well,
and-
that's not true. But let's just move on. So,
Okay.
so did you have them fill out the confidential or not?
No, I had them draw the family tree, and because I'm going to do the confidential in the 1-to-1.
Okay.
So-
So when you
so I-
got to those questions,
Okay,
questions about that you would normally get to in the confidential, what did you do?
I said, when we meet, I'm going to talk to you about your real estate. And when we meet, I'm going to talk to you about your long-term care plans. And then we'll do an income review. And then I'm going to ask you some health questions. And then I'm going to review your assets. And then I'm probably going to ask you if you think you have the right paperwork. I didn't go into the details on the confidential. Okay. I just told them what the confidential was out, because my purpose for the workshop was to get people to want the appointment.
Right.
So it's a brief overview of the family tree, but it's the same presentation. It's just a little briefer overview. I think that probably.
Well, it sounds like it's a
is
longer
easier.
one. If it's 90 minutes, right, that's longer than what we would normally do.
Well, I'm a ham.
Okay.
So sometimes
But
I
you're
tell
basically
stories.
you had them draw their family tree. You gave the same presentation as far as just telling them about estate planning, and then, basically a call to action at the end.
Right, around to it. I gave them around to it. and said, I thanked them for coming. And they got up and they turned in their sheets. I said, if you want an appointment as soon as possible, turn in this sheet. And if not, we'll be in touch with you by email in the next couple of days. And that's what we did. And we got Jay and Ben went out and made appointments this week and for next week. And we're going to make a lot of sales. I expect to make 5 to 10 estate plan sales next week. And then the week after that, I expect to do 6 to 8 back end sales and 5 to 10 more estate plans.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Jen. And you and I are going to talk in the morning.
Yes.
Anybody else out there?
Liz had a question in the chat. Do you have a sample of what they sent out to folks? I received something here in my area and I spoke with Jay, but it was not asset positioning. So I think the marketing for the workshop.
I didn't see anything. I'll be honest with you. I got a picture of the library and the number of people that were on it. I just left that to the marketer. That's something that he owns. I just gave him money, got out of his way. That's the truth.
So this is
So I don't
Liz.
know-
So you basically, you paid them, they created the list, you told them what you wanted, they created the list. They did all that work and then they just presented you with a list of people who were attending.
And every one of them showed up. That's how it's turnkey. I don't think I would have done it if I had to do any work
Right.
because I don't have
No,
time.
that's good. And 3,500 does sound fairly reasonable, to be honest.
Oh yeah. It's
Did you
a
have
great
a
deal.
goal ahead of time? Like, did you say, hey, I'd like 50 people, 100 people, or?
I knew it would be between 60 and 100 people, but my biggest goal was to not do anything except write
Show
the
up.
check and show up and make the presentation.
And do they have anything to do with the follow-up, or is that all you, Jay, Greg,
Oh, no,
et cetera?
no, that's all us. They're out of it once the workshop starts. They're done. They've earned their money.
Do they actually set up the library and stuff, or that's your end?
No, we did that on our end.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, hey, I want to encourage you all, if you want to do it, make an appointment with me and let's talk about it. I guess we need to put a little asterisk on the bottom and say results are not guaranteed, but they weren't guaranteed for me. And everybody I've talked to that has done those webinars said the results are great. So I would say do it. I'll help you do it. I won't help you pay for it. Yeah, that's something you have to do. But I'll help you get it set up. I'll coach you through it. If you're within driving distance, I'll even come make the presentation for you. But if not, you got to buy me a plane ticket and pay my hotel room because I can't drive home all in one day. So but if you want me to come do your presentation, we'll cut a deal and I'll come out there and make your presentation for you. Anything else?
Joe Kimmel said he would also love the PowerPoint that you and Jen were talking about for the workshop. And
Okay,
May
Joe, send me a note and I'll send you the PowerPoint I have. It's about 90%, 95% complete, and it's for churches, making presentations in churches. But you know what? It's a PowerPoint that just got pictures that goes right along with my same presentation every time. It's just a PowerPoint is just the script with pictures. And I pick the pictures, and if you don't like them, you can pick a picture. You can build the PowerPoint. You can use mine. You can adjust it. Anything else?
Susan would also like that PowerPoint.
Well, send me an email.
And May had the question for the workshop. What about having prospects bring in their laptops, or the library having laptops and the prospects all demo the Fed software?
You can do a workshop where they bring their computers in and go online and do the free trial and make the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, and they'll fill out the free trial and you'll get a record of it. And you can call them back and review that with them and probably make more sales than I'm going to make. I just have not approached that concept yet. But we have done a video on it on randallbaxter.com on how to use the free trial with the Family Tree Asset Positioning Sales presentation. I hope that answered that question. Anybody else?
Then Kendrell just said, thank you, Randy. And
Well, you're
that's all.
welcome. You're welcome very much. And there's many people out there that are entry level and beginners. You know, ask around and emulate what I teach without innovating, and you'll see how well it works. Those who've been around a long time and haven't made sales are probably innovating before they emulate. Some of you are 1,000 miles away. I can't tell what you're doing there, but you know, I can certainly look and see what your production is. And I do know that low productive people are not emulating what I'm asking you to do. Emulate, don't innovate. Anybody else out there?
Nothing more in the chat. Oh,
Okay.
there's something more. Randall Hank asked, are the plans updated with the guidelines for each specific state?
Absolutely. And that's what Dean and Frank do, and they keep everything up to date. And they've been doing it for years. Okay. Hey, that is great software. It's easy to use, easy to learn, easy to pay for it. It's not expensive. And the only difference between my software and the software that you can buy elsewhere, and this is a major difference, and I'm very proud of it. I teach you how to sell it. That's the primary difference. You can buy the software. People say, "Oh, about this software." I go, "Well, that's great. Are they teaching you how to sell it? How many sales you got? None. Why? I don't know how to sell it." So yeah, I'm very distinctive that way. I'll get in the ditch with you and help you learn to sell it. If you'll only, all I ask is that you do what I show you. You don't ask me to get in the ditch and show you what I do and then do something different and then be upset with me because it doesn't work. Any other questions?
Nothing more.
Okay. Well, I've got an appointment here in a minute, and I got to go to work. So if you don't need anything else, I'm gonna stop and carry on with the rest of my day. If you got my email about that story today about that $1 million, it's absolutely true. It happened. I knew it was going to happen because I knew the family, because the families, because one was 30 miles away and the other one was 90 miles away, and I had to drive 240 miles yesterday in that 8 hours and do $1 million worth of sales and make it home in time to have supper. You know what I had for lunch? I had a pickle and some beef jerky on the road. Anyway.
Those were both anti-inflammatory. Good for you.
I know that. Thank you, Tony. I knew it. Okay.
Liz said, thanks, Randy. Appreciate your wisdom and handiness.
Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate you all, and I'm going to sign off. I got a little bit more work before I go home today. So everybody tune in next week, and we'll have something to say. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Be safe, folks.
All right.